KindaSound Radio. We're tuning in for change.
Welcome to the Gifts Within Adversity with me, Stella Grace. We are here every fortnight, and each show I will have a diverse member with me, a diverse person from a different background, different walks of life, all who each in differing ways have somehow supported others or inspired others, either through their own story of adversity or by inspiring others and helping them through their stories of adversity. And I have with me today the lovely Laurine Traquair. Hi, Laurine.
Hello. Thank you, Stella, for having me on your show. I'm truly grateful.
Oh, it's lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. And I can't wait to speak to you in a moment and hear all about what you do. And I know your work is phenomenal and supports a lot of people and is incredibly inspiring. So I can't wait to hear about more of that in a second. We're here every fortnight. As I mentioned, we're replaying the show on the Saturday at 11 at the same time. All shows across KindaSound are replayed at the same time the following day, and then later made available as a podcast that you can access via the KindaSound website, and of course via the main places for podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Audible. So let's come over to you, Laurine. Would you like to introduce yourself? Because you're a transformational life coach, aren't you? Would you like to say a bit more about you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my name is Laurine Traquair. Most people call me Laurie because Laurine's quite a long name, and then Traquair. So Laurie is good for me. I grew up in the East End of London from a family that dysfunctional, fun, loving, you name it. We had it all going on, but it's part of what made me. I lived there for many years and was part of a family-run pet shop for decades, which I loved. I mean, that's another whole story talking about that. But I really loved it. But my real passion was helping people. And I found myself at times really, I've got this curious mind, and wanting to help people. And when I saw people that were struggling, I was always wondering, well, what else is out there? I would uplift them and want to teach them or speak to them. People would say to me, you talk to anyone. And I used to think, why are we better? Why would you say that, anyone? They're people, they've got a heart. Why wouldn't I? So I think I got to the age of around, I was around 50 when I finally left the family business, and I was curious about what my purpose was, because what I realised, I was living everyone else's dream. I lived my mum's dream. She had the family business, which was great, but it was her dream. Then I sort of fell into it, as you do. I loved it, but I was always curious. Well, what about me? Have I got a purpose? Why am I here? Which led me to the road of personal development. And once I started studying personal development, mindset, laws of attraction, it was almost like a light bulb moment came in. I was like, oh, so we all came here, and I had all these thoughts that used to go in my mind. I wasn't mad. Most of us have a purpose, just like every animal. So when I related to the animals in the pet shop, their purpose, and they're all unique, it kind of like all made sense to me. So I filled in a form online from the American Institute about, do you want to be a life coach? Do you find yourself feeling you want to uplift or help? And every question, it was like it was for me. And I said, yes. I'll send it off. And then the phone calls would come trying to interview me. And I was like, oh, that was a big fear. I was avoiding that. But I finally gave in, and I thought, I'm going to speak to them and see what they've got to say. And that was it. That was my start of training in America. And I haven't looked back. It's my purpose, and I love it. So that's what it means to help transform somebody, is from where they are, what they're discontent with in life, where their challenges are, what are their struggles, to what's the solution? How do we go forward to be the best version of yourself? I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it really is resonating in my cells hearing about your story when you have those light bulb moments and you just absolutely know that you have to do that thing, or you just know that you're meant for that thing. And it's just such a whole body activation, isn't it? Of just that deep knowing, that resonance. And I love that you've been led by that, you know, and you found that, because I think it's really it's the magic of being here and, you know, being able to fulfill our purpose and follow our purpose. There's something incredibly magical about it. And it's interesting because we're going to talk a little bit more probably later about the frequency, you know, and again, it's reminding me of this real activation within ourselves, because we feel it, don't we?
Absolutely.
And,
I mean, I'm feeling it now as you're talking to me. I'm feeling your frequency. My body is vibrating. You know, you've got quite a powerful energy, Stella, because my body is vibrating. So I'm feeling your frequency.
We're bouncing off each other, and that's what I absolutely love. And this is what I love about this show as well, hearing other people's stories. And it is a real energy bounce, and you know, we feel it, and I love that. You know, we're energetic beings. And I love that. I love lots of parts of your work, you know, supporting people, because I know that energetics is a big part of it as much as the practical. And we're here on this physical earth plane, aren't we? But we're also utilizing our magic, or in other words, energy. And so really utilizing in the both of it. So I think your energy is great too. And I was really feeling it when you were talking about your resonance. It was getting me going. So yeah, thank you.
So thank you.
So did you have so you touched on your background, you know, we have we can often share as empathic beings, people who want to help and uplift others. We often have this real deep sense of roots of colourful experiences. So were there things you can pinpoint that really, I mean, you know, you mentioned your introduction and your overview, but were there things you pinpointed that you felt like were transferable from your background to your coaching directly?
Yes, I think like when I was from a very small girl that I used to want to be a teacher. Yeah, very small. I used to sit there with the dolls and talk to them and teach them. But one of the things that held me back for long was I don't like to label myself because I didn't understand it then, but I wasn't very good at reading and writing. I'd see things all round the wrong way, so I would avoid it. I would avoid speaking up or saying things. So I used to then think to myself, there was something wrong with me years ago. But I used to, as I grew and I was growing, I used to know that I had this kind of like, I was able to connect with people and animals. And I started to look and think, I can help that person. I'm able to do that. And in those moments, I wasn't thinking about my reading and writing. I was just in my heart, I think. And as I started to, I run a successful business, and for many years, I was really good at putting people together, even getting the right animals. So I think that skill set I was nurturing, and it was growing and evolving. I mean, I had some, which we might talk about. I mean, it wasn't always like that. I mean, I had a real rocky time as well, but I think I was naturally able to get up, brush myself off and focus on a solution. My mum would often say, you could fall in shit and come up, smelling of roses. It was just that I would always be like, what's the solution then? She would be going, oh my God, you ain't going to believe it. I've got the bailiffs. Oh. And I would be like, that's all right, we'll sort it out. Literally, it was like that. There was a solution. I never went into that most of the time. Oh, this is awful. I'd be like, that's all right, we figure it out. So I've got well known for let Laurie sort it out. Get Laurie to do it, and she'll do it. Did that answer that question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And I think that's really inspiring for the listeners as well, because how I resonate with that as well is really and we just discussed this actually in the astrology show, because it's just this beautiful theme through life for me that really resonates about finding the gold within the difficulty, as you put it, turning crap into manure. You know, I really love that. Really using it as a fertilizer to grow from, and I really connect with that as well. So I love that, and I think that's so inspirational, because we all go through these rocky times and these hardships, and actually without them, you know, we wouldn't have the contrast of you know, the good spells, the joy, the flow. You know, without the adversity, we wouldn't have been equipped sometimes with those tools and skills of resilience and all the things. But I also love your vibrant energy of, you know, you're naturally one of those people to really embrace that kind of alchemy process.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really love that. So shall we, it's a nice time actually to have your first song choice already. So what a beautiful name. So how is this special to you?
Which one are we going to choose? Sorry, because just remind me of my first song choice.
I had you down for your first one. What a beautiful name.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yes, apologies.
Is that okay? Yeah.
I choose that is one. You know what? I think over the years I've grown and evolved so much that I'm always like working on myself and wanting to transform and be the better version. And this song right now, when I hear it, I want to cry in my heart. I just feel like the world is transforming in the most beautiful way. And there's a lot of people out there sharing love and kindness. And this song, when I listen to it, if I'm feeling a bit, it just does something to the bones and my cells and my heart.
I love that cell activation again. It's really lifting that frequency. It's beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Django, for playing that one for us.
KindaSound, tuning in for change.
Welcome back to the Gifts Within Adversity with me, Stella Grace, and my lovely guest, Laurine Traquair, who is a transformational life coach. And we've been hearing about Laurine's background. Laurine, you're going to share a little bit more about your experience of adversity that's actually led you to where you are today with your coaching, isn't it? Would you like to share?
Yeah, this is, I'm all about authenticity. And, you know, for many of us, we don't just get here, become a life coach. There is a journey. And sometimes through a real challenging time, something good happens. So it was I was in my 40s, I would say, and I was quite a social party girl, you know, real fun. I would say, you know, really burning the candle at both ends, and I loved it. And I think sometimes as well, I was probably doing a lot of that because I was running from the inner world, which I didn't understand the inner world. I only just thought we had an outer world, you know, everything's happening out there. I was never really, I didn't understand anything about my mind and my thinking. But over a period of time, I noticed that I went from a solution-based person, you know, yeah, that's all right, nothing's a problem, I can get over that, to this heaviness in me, this voice. I call it the bully, because that's what it felt like. This voice would be coming in and chipping away at me, but telling me these horrible, scary things about me and the world, and all I can say is that at that time, I didn't know how to explain it, and I didn't know about paradigms, or we had an intuition voice, or we had the ego, which is paradigm. I had no awareness. Nobody ever shared anything like that. So for me, I thought I was going mad. I thought I was like something inside of me. I was going on, and the voice became constant to the point where I was running all day long. I was running and hiding. I'd lost loads of weight, started having panic attacks. I was anxious. I was biting my nails, but I was never really telling anyone because I was so scared or felt stupid. I felt like a failure to say, what is this voice? So when I sort of did share some with people, they'd be like, oh, you'll be all right. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? So I eventually went to the doctors, and he was probably prodding me. Have you got this? Have you got that? Are you depressed? And I went, what does that mean? I didn't know what it meant. So he kept prodding me, wanted to give me out antidepressants, which I didn't really want to take. But I got to a point where kind of really, I was having a bit of a meltdown. I found myself drinking during the day, not telling anyone. I just wanted peace. I just wanted this voice to be peaceful. So I couldn't keep running every day. I couldn't keep hiding and go. I needed to calm down. So I went to the Priory. I thought, I'm going to go and see a consultant. My aunt took me there and we started talking. And he said, asking a question about my mum. I thought, well, what's that got to do with me? Does your mum cry a lot? I was thinking, I said, well, yeah, sometimes. Does she go through the change? And he was really probing these uncomfortable questions. And I thought, well, what does that have to do with me? Then he went, oh, yeah, and he was right. And then he said, how about your dad? Was your dad depressed? I said, I don't know. I said, I think my mum said he might have been. And he was going, what, did he shout? Did they argue? And I went, yeah, at times. And he started writing. He went, depression, it runs in the family. I went, yeah. And he went, you just got to live with it. Well, I walked outside. It was like someone had stabbed me. I felt this sickness and this pain. And I thought, he didn't understand what I was sharing. I thought, live with this. This ain't living. I nearly threw up everywhere. And I was shaking. And I got back and I was really shaken. I thought, and then I remember looking at the telly, and it was like postnatal depression was coming up. People go mad and have their kids taken away. I was now self-diagnosing myself. I must have this. I must have this. I've got all this. Oh, my God. How am I going to get through? I was a mum in her 40s, and I was thinking, I don't know if I can carry on like this for the rest of my life. This ain't living. This is not living. So I remember there was a day that I was trying to talk to people, but I just wanted someone to give me a solution, put their arm around me, maybe tell me that about personal development or something, and I'd have been like, yeah, I get that. But there was none of that. So they got to a day where I was in the bathroom, my two little girls, and everything had been on this news about a woman who'd hurt their children. It really it made me feel physically sick. And I thought, what if that's me? What if I'm going to be that mum? I thought, I'm out of here. I thought, I can't even be around that. I'm leaving. So I was sitting in the bathroom. I thought, I'm taking the pills and I'm out of here. And I remember my girls are playing and they're looking at me going, Mum. But I was numb. I was so numb. I'm sitting on the floor looking down numb. And I just looked up and they dropped something out the bath and they was going, Mum. And I looked at them and I had tears rolling down my face. And I remember at the time looking and thinking, something I just looked and I thought, oh my God, how could I even be thinking that? What about them? My cousin had committed suicide, and when he was 20, my sister's partner had done the same thing about a year before, and I saw the devastation. I thought, how would I see the devastation it caused? I thought, what would this do to them? What would it do to Nick? In that moment, and I looked up and I just went, somebody help me. It was like I had an awakening, a voice spoke to me. It told me something. It just said to me, it gave me a word to say. So I started doing it. And honestly, Stella, if I could say like over a short space of time, there was a ping pong going on. There was a battle. I was saying one thing, the negative voice, but I tamed it. And it felt like the voice went away, the negative bully voice, which I call Billy the bullshitter. And it's like a voice, and I know the difference because one was loud, angry, egotistic, fearful, and the other one was so calm. And I realised I just changed. And then I moved home and I felt really calm. And then I found myself uplifting everyone, thinking, well, everyone should know this, speaking about it. Then it realised when I went to training, it was at the training, they talked about a paradigm, the ego. And I was like, oh, I get it now. That didn't happen to me. It happened through me. So I could understand how people's mindset, we're not mad. We have these voices, but we can either allow the bully to overtake us and ruin us, or we can ask our heart, which is our intuition, And that's what, so now when I'm with clients, when they say things to me, I hear them. I was once in that place. I get them. But I also know the solutions. So I hope that answers your question.
Wow, what a phenomenal story. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that's so powerful because, again, you know, how it's being gifted some things that don't feel like a gift whatsoever at the time, but being gifted with hindsight, that process to be able to empathize and connect with all the people that you're here to support is just phenomenal. And I think that's so much in that, but I think that's where, you know, so important, the reflection of your story, that what we can be met with is, you know, a shutdown, both our own, that ego voice, that the mental rhetoric that we can all identify with to some degree.
Yeah.
And if we're, you know, going down that road, or if we speak to a certain person or a certain doctor or a certain professional, or, you know, and we're met with, well, live with it, you know, and then for you having been through that and been able to share that that's not the only route, like, doesn't that just say how phenomenally important this kind of work is for people and for raising frequency? And, you know, and this is the other thing, and it's so powerful. And one of the things I really love about KindaSound is the voice that we're giving and that we're able to express because of you know, on matters of, you know, really supporting each other and inspiring each other. And the world is so ready for this. You know, people need to hear your story. And so it's amazing that they can hear your story. So thank you so much for sharing, because, you know, it just supports other people that might be listening to think, well, you know, excuse me, I can really connect with that. And actually there's another way, or I've been having those thoughts and what do they mean? And, you know, actually there's not one route. You know, it's not one route. So, and I think this is something else, again, we've been discussing in the astrology show about our systems that are changing. You know, there's not one route in terms of modalities. And, you know, obviously this has been in transit for some time, because, you know, not everybody wants to take a prescription and numb and, you know, distract and keep running, as you put it. You know, to me, that running away from yourself. Yeah.
Well, it's just suppression, isn't it? When you take something. I mean, I did try them, but sorry for interrupting, but
no, that's fine.
Like you said, Stella, this is what this radio station is about. And if we're going to be presenters, we have a journey. We've been on a journey. We have a story. We have a history. I'm not my history anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm now, I can share, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have a hold on me, because I know that at the time I wasn't grateful, but am I grateful now? Yes, because it got me to wanted to know more about how the mind works. How does it, you know, who are we? And what are the solutions? And how do we tame that inner critic? And there is solutions. And KindaSound Radio offers so many beautiful people sharing the wisdom and the knowledge, and whether it be health and supplements, and it all goes together, don't it? Like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. It's a wonderful energy, and it's very, you know, very much needed and very aligned with our evolution and our development as people, and as, you know, as a supportive global collective, as a unit, you know, unity. And it's incredible. And I love and totally resonate with what you said about, you know, in those instances, it's, you know, it just doesn't feel like a gift, but actually to be able to empathize. You're not that person now, but you had those experiences so you can connect with your clients and connect with other people to support them going through the same thing or similar. So there's immense power in it, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you think about it, Stella, when we are in service, if someone comes and says, I've got this crazy voice, I'll go, oh, I don't know. It's not being, you're not being authentic. I can identify and say, yeah, I hear you. But you know what? I can offer that there is a way forward, given the tools and techniques. It gives them hope. That's all I wanted was hope. It's like somebody coming around going, listen, there's a solution. And here it is. But if that's what I had to go to get here, then I'm living proof that you can find a solution. And the minute we decide, I want more than this, I don't want to be a victim. I was a victim at that point.
Yeah.
And, you know, but now it's so lovely to have this space and this opportunity to help. That's what we're all here for, service.
Yeah, 100%. And like you, I can really resonate and understand, because having been through severe traumas, I'm now writing a book to support other people to find the alchemy and the growth from their traumas. And something you said, something I write about is I am not my traumas. My traumas don't define me. They describe the state. They describe incidences. They don't define me as a person now. And so, there's all of these tools that we can adopt to, heal and grow from them. And I'm really here for that. So yeah, it's always refreshing to talk to people who, are on this path. And I think there's such a lot of wisdom and light to share out there, and the world so needs it. And, we're here for each other, aren't we? So
yeah,
it's just beautiful. So let's have your second song choice, lovely. So the track Tears by Frankie Knuckles. What does this mean to you?
Well, I used to love, growing up, I've always been into my music and socialising. I'm a very fun person. When I'm not working, Laurie loves fun. It's one of my core values. And whether that be through music, but dancing and venues. And I think I first heard it. I'd just been with my husband, not long. He was a West End boy. He was into all the club scenes. We were massively into the club scenes and the dance. And this music came out, and we used to have after parties at my house. And I remember when this came out, we would play, everyone that used to come back to our house would go, put it on. And and just lost in the music, you're free. And it just uplifts. Whenever I hear it, it's got great memories of me and Nick, he's no longer with us, but it's got that memory of those great times when we've not long been married.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. And we'll enjoy that one now.
KindaSound Radio, the station for a global community.
Welcome back to the Gifts Within Adversity with me, Stella Grace, and my lovely guest, Laurine Traquair. We are discussing Laurine's incredible journey and how she became a transformational life coach, and some of the interesting facets along the way that really help and support others through shared experience and empathy, and being able to understand our clients and others around us. So we're going to come on to the topic of frequency, because energy is everything, as we know, and it's really key. Not just key; it's actually essential, isn't it, for creating a life you love? And that's something you know all about. So, Laurine, would you like to share that aspect of your coaching work?
Yeah. So when I meet clients and we're having a conversation about they want to create a life they love living, and so we start off what they're not happy with in their life, what are they discontent with, and then we help them write a vision of a life they would love living. So to make it simple for them, when I start talking about frequencies and energy, I help them. So what I will say, how I usually share, depending on where they are. So I try to, being in service, ask lots of questions. So and then they have a vision, they write it, and then they might go, well, how am I going to get that? How's that going to work? So how I like to make suggestions is you're tuning in to the frequency of the vibration. So if you want love, but you're holding on to resentment, two ends of the spectrum. If you want wealth and abundance, but you're dialed into the frequency of lack, you're at different frequencies. And another way that usually really works is I talk about maybe a radio station on the telly. If you're watching BBC News, it's a very low vibration frequency. Check in with your body. How are you feeling when you're listening? Are you feeling, is you're feeling constricted? And they go, yeah. I said, now switch into, say, David Attenborough. You turn in the dial, you switch into another frequency. But how do you feel when you're watching something like David Attenborough? And they go, oh, much better. So you feel expansive. Is your energy and your frequency more expansive? Yes. I said, so that's how you're kind of tuning into the frequency. So when you have your vision is is an energetic blueprint. It's energy. So you have to match the frequency of that what you desire. So if you want to travel and you start to imagine yourself traveling on the plane, how do you feel? We know that when we're feeling good, we smile, we're happy, we've got a good vibration, then we take an action step based on how we're feeling, don't we? I know when that music came on for me, I shared with you, oh my God, I want to go and dance. Now, if I was listening to something sad or something that made me angry, if I see somebody hurting somebody, I would be tensed up. I wouldn't want to then go and dance. I'd be like, you see, so it depending on what we're thinking and feeling, our body is, our cells are communicating with us. So if making it quite simple like that, tune into, like what we're doing, we're tuning in for change. We're talking about uplifting, positive stuff. And as me and you shared, Stella, our energy was, my cells are vibrating. So when you're touching into your vision and your dream, all of a sudden we come alive, and then we want to feel in the energy beat. Equally, sad, negative, not good enough, feeling of like I'm not good enough, like through my story. I just wanted to pull back, wanted to go. I was spiraling down. That's because my energy and my frequency. So I hope that's kind of like answered your question.
Absolutely. It's, the power of frequency is not, not just a power, but it just is everything, isn't it? We're operating, as you say, in a state of anywhere on the spectrum of, high to low and everything in between. It's an energy of how we are and how we feel, and how that transmits out to the world, and how the world transmits back to us. And the other thing I find really interesting about the topic of frequency is like environment as well. Language, as you touched on, is so imperative for how we then change our reality, basically. If there is, as you've mentioned, and for your clients, if there's an energy of wanting to change something, a circumstance that we're not happy with in our lives, then to shift the state is firstly, I would guess, a choice, and then also looking at what the environment around us, so if we're dialed into language that's negative, like you say, or in a sense of lack, or I'm not good enough, and we've got that mental rhetoric, then we're going to see, and connect with more of that. But if we're choosing different thoughts, and as you gave great examples in your experiences, in your adversity, when you started to have those, that sort of not so much conflict, but dialogue between the two voices, and you start to choose which one you're going to listen to and reframe more often. And it's that lovely, there's a lovely quote, isn't there, of the two wolves, and one's anger, hate, jealousy, and the other one's love and compassion and kindness, and which one do you feed? We all have them both. We all have the spectrum of emotions, of all the colors, of all the planets. We have aspects of everything within all of us, light and dark. So it's a choice, isn't it, to show up on which one we choose.
One of the what I usually share with clients as well, when whatever they want to attract, because law of attraction is about thoughts become things. So we attract where our dominant thinking is, and we are perfect. When we are creating, if we don't like something, we have to change the frequency. We have to go back to the thinking, because it's the thoughts that created it. Once you become aware, we can change. So I often share, we don't get what we want, we get what we are. So it's the frequency, what we're holding. So if whatever we want, we have to be it. So it's a bit like if I want my fire to work, a wood, if you've got wood, you give it wood first, don't you? You put the wood in, and then you get the return. So it's always about checking in by noticing what I'm noticing. How am I feeling? And I wouldn't say that all day long I'm going around going, I feel fantastic, I feel great, because that wouldn't be true. I'm in this human body that's still learning, growing and evolving, and I have things that sometimes come up that trips me up, but I soon get back. It's how quick with the tools and noticing, was I in the past? What is it really happening now? Or was I in a past experience? I notice that, and then I can change my frequency. Just then one of the simplest ways that I say to everyone, just think of what you're grateful for. Gratitude is on the same frequency of abundance.
I love that. Yeah, totally agree. And having experienced for myself firsthand one of your magical coaching sessions, I know how wonderful they are. And I absolutely I absolutely connected with you and your visions of, you know, understanding frequency and the law of attraction, how it works. And it's just such, not just powerful stuff, as I said, it's just essential, isn't it, for creating change. But I really love that. I love being that which we seek. We have to be it, don't we? And that is not always easy. It's not always, you know, we're not sitting here and saying, oh, you just be the change you want to see in the world, you know, like as if it's something. How do I do that?
You have to be intentional, don't you? Because like as we shared, you know, I might have a day where everything's going great. All of a sudden something's, you know, something comes. And at first of all, the initial, it could be reactive. And then I press pause. And then I respond. And sometimes what I would always share with everybody as well, you don't have to always, if you're feeling reactive, press pause and then say, I'm going to think about that and I'm going to reply. Because the minute you put it to the side for a while, take some deep breaths in, change your vibration, go to the solution, then you will respond in the heart with love and kindness, because we have situations that come to us frequently to grow us and evolve us. As I said, not all of them are what we want. And sometimes we want to go, why is this happening to me? Then we have to go, this is happening for me. It's happening for a reason. I'm going to be willing to learn and grow and evolve through this. I will respond. So I'm much better now looking at something and going, I'll respond. Once I feel back in my heart with love and kindness, and usually, there's always a solution there. So it's just always being mindful of like, am I the person I say I want to be? Am I, you know, who do I want to be today? And that's something we should all ask ourselves. Who am I? Who do I want to be?
Yeah, so because we haven't got it all. We're not, you know, life is a lifelong learning journey, isn't it? We haven't got it all figured out. We're not supposed to. It's you know, process of inquiries and getting it wrong, so to speak, in you know, wrong in inverted commas, the growth from our mistakes. Again, we could say that there's no such thing as mistakes, because actually we wouldn't grow otherwise if we didn't have hardship, trial and error processes. So I love that, again, for being really practical and thinking about, you know, for the listeners. And I know when we're going to come back after the next song, I'm really excited because you've been known as from your clients as the Fairy Godmother, haven't you? I love that. So you're going to, after the next break, we're going to come back and you're going to give some of your Fairy Godmother tips for the listeners to support them for some tips for creating their dream life as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. So your next song is Wake Up Everybody. It sounds aptly named in terms of frequency as well.
Yes.
Raising it.
I think the words say it all. I mean, I'm all about want to help people wake up to really who we are, and they are beautiful beings, and we are here on this wonderful journey of self-discovery to know thyself. And it's about all of us coming together like kindness and just wake up. You are beautiful. You are enough. You're loved. And so the song says it all. It keeps me going. If I have a day where I just feel, why am I, you know, when you're trying to feel like, you're not getting somewhere, and then I listen to that and I go, I know I'm doing this. I love it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Enjoy.
KindaSound Radio. We're tuning in for change.
Welcome back to the Gifts Within Adversity with me, Stella Grace, and my guest, Laurine Traquair, are one of our KindaSound radio presenters, actually. We haven't mentioned that yet. So Laurine is on her own show, the A Life You Love Living, and we're getting a real treat here on the Gifts Within Adversity because we're going to have some fairy godmother tips from you, Laurine, aren't we, about how the listeners can create their dream life. So what's your top tips for us?
Okay, first of all, is clarity on what it is you truly want. Because as long as we're breathing and we're thinking, we're creating. Most people are usually creating by default. I'm not saying that to be judgmental, I'm because they're not aware. Yeah, so their default means their way of thinking that they've always done. But when we want to create a new life, which is a life we love living that matters to us, we can do it by design. Once become aware. So when I start with a client, I say, what would you love? That's a very powerful question to any listeners. Always write that down. And most of them, they look at me and they as if like, oh, what do you mean by that? But I know that it's touched something in them because their soul knows. So I'm planting a seed. I'm not telling them. My coaching is never telling them because that disempowers somebody. So some tips are, if you're not sure what you want, write a list of what you don't want. You soon know then, all what you don't want, because it's always the polar opposite. So with the list that you don't want, so first of all, be honest, be clear, whether it be, I don't want to be on my own. I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to be upset or sad or angry or lost or, I don't want to work for somebody else. I don't want to get up in the mornings. Okay. So that's your discontents. They're signs and signals for growth. So now what you do, your little reset, you breathe in a little gratitude. So you're bringing your energy back in the present moment. And then you can go, okay, what would I love? What would I love to be, do, create, have in this world? And that's when I bring out my wands usually and say, I'm your fairy godmother. I did get known that actually by many of my clients they used to say, oh, you're like the fairy godmother. So I said, I quite happily take that on board. So going back to their list of what it is their heart's desires. And usually it's not, it's always like when they start to become in flow, and that question alone is such a powerful question. It's almost like they're surrendering, handing it over, and they're starting to dream, just like we did when we was a child. When you dreamed and you was tenacious, and I want a car, I want a horse. So that was my dream, which I got one, and I want a bike or a doll. We never had judgment come and go, how are you going to get that? It's only as we become older. So we have to say no to the doubtful voice, the negative Nancy, and just let the dream come through. Write it all down, but be specificity, and it's always the opposite. So you wouldn't put debt free, it'd be financial freedom, love of my life, travel, abundance. It's what's important to you, because we're all individuals. For each one of us, we have to be clear what it is we truly desire, and then align it with our core values. That's another tip. Because if we want a relationship based on somebody, honesty, but we're thinking about, all the men I attract or all the women are always dishonest. We're focusing on what we don't want. So what are we creating from? Our discontents. So we want to be focusing on what our heart's desires are, because focus creates reality. I'm going to say that again. Focus creates reality. And we're always looking for the vision is always about, what is it I want? If we were to get in the car now and you wanted to go to an area, you go to the sat nav, it needs to know where you're going. So the mind and the creator want to know what it is you desire. What is it? First of all, it's clarity. Well, what is it? Because until you become clear, how can you create? You go back to the default, the old ways of thinking based on, this is how it always is, or this is what I have, or all those, that's why I say default default pattern. So now you're in, if it's the sat nav again, you would put in the destination, wouldn't you? It'd take you there. Might do a detour, but it'd take you there. But if you think of it, if you started getting to the cab driver, so say you ordered a cab driver then, and he goes, London. Oh, actually, I don't know, I'm going to go Birmingham. Oh, no, actually, I think I'll go to Yorkshire. Oh, no, actually. So if you think of the mind is like the same as a sat nav, it's looking for direction. Where do you want to go? So that's why I say specificity. Otherwise, the sat nav or the driver be going round and round in circles and never get anywhere. So the destination is always, you have to be specific. Okay, so that's the number one tool. Then there's a way you have to bridge the gap to where I am now to where your current reality is, because the mind's going to want to go, yeah, but how are you going to do that? You know, you've never had this amount of money, or, you know, you always pick the wrong partner or the guy or the girl, depending on who you are, or you always, and it will tell you stories of your past. But remember, you're not your past. Those stories might have been helpful when you was little. Be careful, you're going to fall. You know, don't do that. Don't touch that. But the fearful voice, like, as I said, my BS voice would come in and say, based on childhood experiences, well, how are you going to do that? You simply say no to that voice and say, well, I can. You use words like I can, I am, and you put it all in and you match the frequencies that we said in the previous, before today on our call, sorry. We was like, you match the frequency of that, what you want. So you have to imagine that life. You start to see yourself arriving, see yourself in living your purpose or your passion, or you know, for me, it was like being a coach. I could see myself helping these people. I was imagining it, I was visualizing it. Then you listen to the hunches and nudges, you know, that little bits of inspiration. Have you ever woke up and you go, I've got this thought, this feeling to take an action, because it's an action step. So the law of attraction works with a crystal clear vision. And then you take the action is what brings it into the physical form. So that's a couple of tips. I know we're coming to the end of the show. Is there anything else you want to ask me? But that's
absolutely golden advice and golden nuggets of wisdom there. So we want crystal clear vision. We want the belief and feeling of matching our vision, and how we get there is these tools, and we listen to our nudges. And I think that is a really lovely way to sum it up in brief terms. Sadly, we don't have more time, because I could talk to you for much longer about all of this. It's fascinating stuff, and but we've all got that ability, haven't we, to
all of us
get our vision crystal clear and to achieve it and to work on it. So thank you so much, Laurine, for coming in on the Gifts Within Adversity. And I really look forward to coming back. I'll be here again on the 15th of March. I will have a live music special that day. So looking forward to that one, and wishing you all the most wonderful weekend. Thanks again, Laurine.
Oh, thank you, Stella. You are amazing. I'm so grateful to be on your show today. My heart, the love and the heart and the energy I feel from you, and I'll love you on my show soon.
I'd love that. Watch this space. Thank you very much.
Watch this space.
Take care. Thank you.